Hello, 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 everyone. Boy, has it been a minute. Welcome back to MIA on this glorious leap year day. You like that? February 29th, the Panthers took on the Montreal Canadiens. What a game, what a game. Definitely excited to break this game down a little bit. And let's get started. That's all I got to say. I'm coming back, making this video, making this podcast, because I realize that this is something I truly am passionate and care about. And moving forward, I want to put a lot more time and dedication into MIA and talking about the Panthers. I know it's been a long time, but I'm super, super excited to get back on board. And I really think that this team is doing insanely special things. And one of the many reasons why I made this channel, number one, is I'm extremely passionate for the Panthers, for Florida sports, hockey, football, basketball. But also, I would just really love to see more Panthers content. You know, you YouTube Florida Panthers daily, and a lot of times you see one or two videos about the Panthers, the highlights, and that's really it. And I feel like there's so much more that can be talked about. Obviously, with this team doing so well now, but with this team have gone on these runs over the last couple years and really made a name for themselves. And I just feel like there should be more content, more news, and more things to talk about when it comes with the Panthers. I want to make this channel and this podcast the most sought after and popular Panthers content that people can go to. And I want to continue to strive for consistency. And one day I feel like we'll get there. So, anyways, let's kick it off. Like I said, Montreal Canadiens, Florida Panthers. First and foremost, Florida Panthers going into this game, 39 wins, 80 points, fourth place in the NHL, and on an amazing tear since the New Year's, since the All-Star break. First and foremost, we got Carter Verhaeghe back in the lineup tonight. He left last night. He took a puck up into the face. And as I was watching the game, you could definitely see his lip completely busted up. It even looked like he might have had stitches. It was really hard to tell if it was just a lot of scabbing or if it was actually stitches. I didn't really hear anything from the announcers on that. But I would be curious to know if anybody knows. If you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, drop a comment, let me know. If you're listening on Apple Music, appreciate you. If you're watching on YouTube, you can also listen to this audio recording on Apple Podcasts as well. Miami in Action. Or on YouTube, Miami in Action. To start off, we had the first period. Barkov takes the puck, brings it up, passes it to Reinhart. Reinhart gives it back to Barkov for the first goal of the game. The announcers were really kind of talking about a lot of success from Barkov against the Canadiens, and I feel like they literally set them up for success. Barkov gets the goal. Obviously, this year Barkov has been extremely, extremely impactful on the defensive end, as well as assisting and setting up other players. And while Barkov has never been the super high scoring, goal scoring forward, definitely on a little bit of a slower pace than in years past. I don't know that for sure, but I feel like that seems to be the case, right? I think he had like his 14th or 15th goal of the season. Excuse me. Then sometime later in the first period, Canadians pass to Suzuki wide open. Honestly, an uncharacteristic line change. Left him wide open for a breakaway, and he just put it away against Stolars. Once again, definitely really uncharacteristic. But they end the period 1-1. And, Bennett definitely really stuck out in the first period. Had 4 shots on goal. I thought overall, though, a lot of penalties in this game. A lot of penalties. I almost felt like if anybody just fell, they were calling a penalty. And I'm going to be honest with you. I even thought that there were some penalties that we got in terms of a power play. Like the one where Montour was tripped. I definitely... we definitely were given one there. I'll say that for sure. We were definitely given one there. But we go into the second period, 1-1. And with 5 minutes and 52 seconds left, we are on the power play. And as we all know, it's been, I think, like a 6 or 7 game goalless streak for Sam Reinhart. And what do you know? Barkov down to Tkachuk, over to Reinhart for the bumper centerman power play goal. And you could kind of sense that it was coming. You could kind of sense that the power play was going to get clicking with that center lineman and Reinhart kind of playing that bumper. And literally it was like you drew it up or played it in an NHL video game. It was really great to see. Excuse me. Couple things too. I thought the penalty kill definitely wasn't as good as it normally is. I thought the Canadians did a really good job on the power play. Funny enough, I've noticed that the Canadians on the power play kind of imitated a similar style setup where they played the diamond setup with that center bumper player, kind of like what Reinhart does. And I noticed that the guy around the net was kind of circling around both sides of the net to kind of be ready, kind of like what Tkachuk does. I know Tkachuk definitely normally stays on that right hand side if you're looking at the goal, considering that he's a lefty. But I thought it was pretty surprising that they were able to get a lot of chances by passing it into that center player or that bumper player, as it's well known. And definitely gave the Panthers a run for their money on the power play for the Canadians, on the penalty kill for the Panthers. And with 3.1 seconds left, Stolars freezes the puck, and the Canadians get a super clean face-off and score a goal with less than a second left to tie it 2-2 going into the third. Once again, I thought the Panthers played pretty well in the first and second period. I really felt like this game, up until the third period, I felt like they were beating themselves. I felt like the puck was just bouncing all over the place. kudos to the Canadians in the first couple periods for really, really kind of skating hard and being physical, and getting into the boards, getting dirty with the Panthers. But I just felt like the puck wasn't really bouncing. But in the second period, shout out to Reinhart once again. 40 goals on the year. I think there's only been like 3 other Panther players that have done that. So amazing accomplishment, and it must have felt really, really good to kind of get over that 39 goal hump. You know what I mean? So starting the third period, with around 16 minutes left in the third, the Canadians score. Pretty simple in the zone goal. Now, what is interesting to note is that was the third goal we've let up. And that's the first time in God knows how many games we've let up 3 goals, which obviously, the streak's got to end at some point. I love that we were able to hold teams to 2 goals, and even losing some, believe it or not, holding teams to less than 3 goals. But anyways, we give up that third goal, and with 6 minutes and 55 seconds left, the Canadians are on a power play. I believe it was a trip from OEL, and Barkov and Reinhart take it down shorthanded. Barkov passes it over to Reinhart. Reinhart kind of tapers around the edge and really lifts up the puck and probably puts it in probably like a 5 to 6 inch gap between the goalie's helmet and the corner of the post. And just a monster, beautiful shot to tie it up 3-3. Once again, with 6 minutes and 55 seconds left. Amazing goal. And it gives Reinhart the 41st goal of the season for him. And I mean, what can you say? The guy's on fire. There's still 22 games left, and already 41 goals. I like I said earlier, I think you had to expect that Reinhart was going to get back into the groove again. And it was good to see the power play kind of bring back his confidence. Not that he really probably lost any confidence, right? But when you see it go in, it's just a different feeling than knowing that you can put it in. With that, the game goes into overtime. Lots of puck control in overtime. Panthers had a good couple chances. Barkov cutting in, Verhaeghe cutting in. And the Canadians had a good couple chances too. Some good attempts on goal. But overall, a pretty standard NHL style overtime. A lot of puck possession. A lot of holding it in the zone, taking it out of the zone if they're not really seeing a lane or a potential pass. Getting good line changes, ensuring that the players aren't staying out there for too long. And long story short, no goals in overtime. So we go to the shootout. Start off with Reinhart, and Reinhart unfortunately doesn't get it. Stolars has an amazing save. I believe the first Canadian shot for the shootout hit the post, but Stolars really stayed strong in net. Really didn't flinch. I noticed he had his stick down when the guy was getting really, really close, which was interesting to see. Kind of stayed really low to the puck, and the Canadian hit the post, hit the right side post. Then Barkov was up next. I feel like on the shootouts now, it's almost a guarantee that Barkov's going to score a goal in the shootout. He has so many tricks up his sleeve, and the fact that we really haven't really had to go to any shootouts this year and really the last 2 years, it's almost like teams forgot how good Barkov is in shootouts. But anyways, takes it down, and I feel like he already kind of had the shot in his mind, but does a really hard left corner post underneath the goalie skate shot that doesn't get any air underneath the puck, just a really hard puck on the ice shot. The goalie doesn't even go down. The goal goes in. And then the Canadians, I believe it was Suzuki, was the next in the shootout. And Stolarz absolutely robs him with his glove. I mean, just an amazing save from Stolarz. And then it's Lundell's turn to win it. Lundell takes the puck down and has an absolutely great deke. Obviously, Lundell's a lefty, so he brings it back to his forehand, and at the last minute brings it back to his front hand and just literally taps it in. And the Canadians goalie bit and sold on the backhand. And I mean, let's be honest, right? If the goalie would have at least just poke checked it, it probably wasn't a goal. But the goalie bit so hard on Lundell's backhand that Lundell brings it to his forehand and just literally taps it in for the win. Definitely an uncharacteristic game, but you could just kind of get the sense, But overall, great win. But you could just really get the sense that this was going to be a weird game. We definitely got the Canadians' best. And obviously, the way that we're playing, being a top team, there's a lot of teams fighting for a playoff spot. There's a lot of coaches fighting for their job. There's a lot of players fighting for their job as well. We're starting to get into that gap now where teams are in the home stretch of the season, and we're going to get their best every single night. They have something to prove, whether it's for the playoffs or whether it's for their job. But with that win, Panthers now have 40 wins on the season. They are 40-16-4 with 84 points. Got to make sure I'm right there. 84 points. And at the time of this recording, they are currently in first place in the entire NHL. However, the Canucks still have yet to finish their game. One thing that's really impressive as well when you look at the standings is a plus 53 goal differential. I know we're, I believe, second in goals allowed. Just extremely, extremely impressive. We are not purposefully a high scoring team. So the fact that a plus 53, and I believe is the highest differential in the league, if I'm not mistaken, at the time of this recording. But plus 53 with such a defensive style of play, extremely, extremely impressive. We're also 9-1 in the last 10 games that we played. I don't even know what our record is in the since the New Year's, but extremely impressive. Excuse me. One of the things I wanted to shout out was some of the MVPs of the game. So first MVP, Stolarz. I know he let in 3 goals, but first goal, I mean, just a total collapse in defense. Second goal, they win the face-off clean. Every Panther player but the guy who took the face-off is in Stolarz's face, in his way pretty much. I don't really blame Stolarz for those first 2 goals, right? I think the third goal, more of a natural goal. I'll pin that goal against him, but really the first 2 goals, I don't really look at any of much of his fault. Stolarz played amazing though. Everything from the glove save and the shootout against Suzuki, to just a lot of the saves down the stretch. So he definitely gets one of my MVPs of the night. Another one is Barkov. Obviously, first goal of the game, helped set up the shorthanded goal with Reinhardt. He was involved in every goal and had a goal in the shootout as well too. Had a goal in the shootout, passed it over to Reinhardt for the shorthanded goal, got an assist in the power play goal, and scored the first goal. Barkov in this game was by far the biggest MVP out of all of them. And then lastly, my last MVP, or my third star you can call it, was Lundell. Played a really solid game all night long, but obviously the shootout, Deke move to win the game. He gets my last MVP, or my last star of the night. One thing I want to introduce to this channel, to this podcast, is our MIA of the night. So, Miami in action, aka MIA. I thought it'd be really cool to introduce someone who maybe we see a lot of production from, right? A lot of involvement from, but maybe on this particular night, they were nowhere to be found, right? They're MIA, if you will, right? They're missing in action versus Miami in action. And my MIA player of the night is Carter Verhaeghe. And I know he left the game early last game. You could tell his lip, his face is just all busted. Not all busted up, but it was busted up. But I'll be honest with you, I know he had a couple shots on goal, but I don't know. I didn't really feel like I felt Verhaeghe's presence most of the night. Sam Bennett was really charging hard. Cousins had a couple good plays and a couple shots at the net. Tkachuk was doing Tkachuk things. What else? Lundell and Luosterainen were doing their thing. I thought Evan Rodriguez looked good. Barkov obviously was stellar. Sam Reinhart is Sam Reinhart. Fourth line was doing their thing. Obviously, Lockwood slotted in tonight. Forgot to mention that in the beginning, but Lockwood did slot into the fourth line tonight. But I really felt like the MIA of the night was Carter Verhaeghe. I would have really liked to have seen more out of Carter. I feel like we get pretty spoiled with Carter Verhaeghe, right? We're tied 3-3 going into the third, and I remember the announcer talking about this is kind of Carter Verhaeghe's time and saying that I think he has like half of his goals scored this season in the third period alone. Extremely clutch player, but nonetheless, thought he was kind of missing in action tonight. So that's going to be my MIA player of the night, Carter Verhaeghe. But overall, great team win. Our next game is Saturday against the Detroit Red Wings. This is also on ABC, and I believe at 3 o'clock. As we know as Panther fans, midday games or early afternoon games really aren't our vibe. Obviously, we've been playing extremely well this year, but statistically, generally isn't really our jam. On top of that, the Red Wings are just red hot. They are just rolling right now, clicking on all cylinders. I am extremely excited for that game. I expect the Panthers to really pick up their level of play. I definitely really felt like that we kind of were, just kind of moseying around and, Oh, okay, cool, yeah, well, okay. Oh, you know what? They scored. All right, yeah, we'll score now. I felt like they were coasting, and I know a lot of other people who do content on the Panthers kind of feel the same way, right? Oh, you know what? All right, I guess we'll start playing now. It's middle of the third. We're down. We'll pick it up a little bit. We'll exhaust some energy here. But I think on Saturday the team's not going to need any motivation to get ready to play for that game. So I am really excited to see them play that game. I think it's going to be a great game for us. Once again, 3 o'clock on ABC on Saturday. And yeah. But just to kind of wrap this up, extremely, extremely excited to be back. This team has done amazing things this year and really looking to get consistent. If you like this video, if you like the podcast, make sure to subscribe. Definitely going to try and post a couple times a week, especially on game nights. Also follow us on Instagram, miaminaction, X or Twitter if you will, miaminaction. Yeah, drop a follow over there, guys. Really, really would appreciate it. But other than that, that's really going to do it for me. And I appreciate everyone. Shout out. Let's go Panthers, baby. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.